This was one of the first times that I ever traveled with just my dad and my brother, so I felt that I had to document this trip. Also, I've never been to Saudi Arabia before, so I figured it would be pretty interesting to capture our experiences throughout this trip. My brother also never traveled since he was a child, so I wanted to get his perspective as well. What is this, your first time on a plane or something?
It is my first time on a plane. Here we go. Oh, we're off the ground.
Our trip was going to take us from Montreal to Frankfurt, Germany, then Kuwait, and finally Dammam, Saudi Arabia. When we finally landed 14 hours later, our friend came and picked us up from the airport. When we got to our hotel, we unpacked, passed out, and got ready to explore the next day. And it's really, really hot. It's nice, actually. So these are all the buildings. So we walked around the area near our hotel, and it was interesting seeing all the different architecture, stuff that we're not really used to back home.
It's a pigeon.
Of course, the first thing we decided to do was stop off at Starbucks and just grab a coffee and relax for a little bit. After some coffee and a small meal, we decided to go see some dunes. And something that we always wanted to try was going ATVing in the desert. After a full day in the dunes, it was time to eat, so Nabil's family took us to a restaurant that they really like. So this was some kind of meat patty that was pressed flat and then deep fried in oil, and you ate it with flatbread, and it was fantastic. After eating, we went to Al-Kabar Corniche, which is basically just a walking path facing the Persian Gulf. It's pretty cool. The sign's out. Pretty cool. Yeah. We spent the rest of the night talking and then decided to go back to our hotel to get some sleep because we had a big day ahead of us the next day. Day 2 in Saudi. Didn't get much sleep, but we're gonna go eat breakfast and then go to Bahrain. That's the plan. But first we needed to stop to eat some breakfast, so we got a meal called dosa, which is a flat crepe-like bread, and we ate that with a curry. After eating breakfast, we decided to head out, and our first stop was going over the causeway which connects Saudi Arabia to Bahrain.
Okay, here is your immigration.
This is where we apply for the
that
visa.
island, that is for immigration and security and customs.
So this is a man-made island up front?
Yes, man-made.
Okay.
It's actually pretty impressive how long this bridge was, and it took us quite a while to get over. When we finally arrived to the city of Bahrain, it was really interesting to see that it was a lot more condensed than Dammam, and it had a lot more traffic. Well, we're in the old part of Bahrain, so it's pretty cool. After walking around the old part of Bahrain and seeing the historic sites, we decided to get some food and try some clay pot chicken biryani, which was spicy but also fantastic. As we continued to explore the streets of Bahrain, we stumbled on a Sikh temple, and I thought that was really beautiful. It was quiet and they had no service that day, but we got to walk around and see what it was like in another country. After the temple, we decided to go to the coast and swim in this amazing beach. It was pretty quiet and there was like almost nobody there, so we had it all to ourselves. So this is the Persian Gulf. We're swimming in the Persian Gulf. It is the warmest water I have ever been in my life. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go walk around. After a long day at the beach, Nabil invited me and my brother out to go see his old family neighborhood. He showed us the streets he used to play around in as a child and showed us how confusing it can get.
It never ends.
No way. This feels like a forest. This feels like a forest of buildings. Honestly, besides it being a maze, the architecture was really cool to see. Some of these buildings were hundreds of years old. Calvin, look at this house.
Whoa.
And I found it funny how my brother really enjoyed seeing the architecture as well. In the evening, we decided to head back to the beach and watch the sunset. And it was honestly a really good vibe. Beautiful. It's just so beautiful here. After the sunset, we headed back to our Airbnb where we were staying for the night. But on the drive, we saw Al Fateh Mosque, which was one of the biggest mosques in Bahrain. And it was huge. Unfortunately, due to construction, we didn't have a chance to stop or to go by because there was no way to get in. We did decide to pull over and go for a little scenic walk, which faced downtown Bahrain, where we could see the city lights, and it was honestly a really nice walk. The next day was spent with Nabil's family, and we went shopping and had lunch, then prepared to head out back to Saudi Arabia. However, on our way back, we ran into an issue where our passports were actually confiscated. We are here back in Saudi Arabia. We almost got kind of stuck at the border. Turns out that one of the people that we were with didn't have his correct stamps, so not us, we did, but they took our passports and then didn't give them back, which could be dangerous sometimes depending on what country you're in. Exactly. So we got lucky because they gave us a mercy and let us through, which is great. So now we're back here. My brother actually handled that situation very well, and he wasn't bothered by the fact that we could have gotten stuck in between two countries. But yeah, no, we're back home now, so everything is good, and we're gonna go get Starbucks or whatever, relax. All right, goodbye. The next day, we went to the mall to do some last-minute shopping. The mall was huge and also kind of empty. The food court was also probably one of the biggest food courts I've ever seen, and even my brother was shocked. Technically, you're not supposed to film inside the mall because people don't want to be on camera, but there wasn't that many people, so I figured it'd be alright. Later that night, we went to go pick up some food and sweets for an event that Nabil's family was hosting. It was pretty intimate, and it was just filled with families and dancing, and Nabil's family getting to know the bride's family, and the bride's family getting to know Nabil's family. I will say, I did feel a little bit out of my element at first, but once the dancing started and the food came out, it was just a great time. Both my brother and I spent most of the night just cheering them on. Then it got a little bit late, so we decided to call it a night. I had a horrible sleep. I got maybe 2 hours of sleep last night, thanks to Calvin.
What? I was sleeping with you. Dad was.
Thanks to Dad. And the bed that we were using was rock hard. So I didn't speak Arabic, but I had a conversation with an Uber driver who...
A Bolt driver.
Whatever, Bolt driver. It's the same thing as Uber.
Promote the
whatever,
business.
Bolt, Uber is the same thing. Yeah, I didn't understand. But I think he asked me some questions that I did answer. I think he said, what brings you to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, probably.
And I said, a wedding. And then he acknowledged that. And then I said, we're from Canada. And he said, oh, Canada. So he liked that. I don't think they get many Canadians visiting.
I think I'm gonna get a tattoo of a Canadian flag.
In case you ever get kidnapped and they don't understand you, you can point to the tattoo.
Canada, Canadian Canada, see?
So I just got this date from a very kind Arabic guy.
And coffee.
And coffee. Arabic date and Arabic coffee. Very nice people here, I'm not gonna lie. And every time you tell them you're from Canada, their eyes just light up. They're like, holy cow, Canada, what are you doing here? This Arabic coffee is delicious. Okay, I have to turn off the camera because you can't film women. They don't like when women are on camera here. It was the ceremony night, so we put on some traditional clothing that men wear for weddings, and we got our haircuts and really just tried to get to know everyone that was there. Ceremony day. This is my fit. I don't know if you can see. It looks good.
Take the camera. No, what you are standing here.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
The ceremony night is a pretty big deal, and it's the second of the 3-day festivities. So there's an ice cream truck that comes by every once in a while, and it plays Dance the Night Away.
See what you did? It sounds scary.
My brother and I found this pretty funny because the ice cream truck was out at night. I guess any time is a good time to eat ice cream. After seeing the ice cream truck go by, we decided to go into the hall and take a look around. So we're going in. I got my nice suit. And yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a blast tonight. The beginning of the night was mostly spent meeting other people, part of the groom and the bride's family. The hall was lavish and full of couches that faced inwards. It was definitely not something that I was familiar with here in North America. And it got even more interesting when the groom walked in. The groom side of the family put on a performance and they asked me to join them. But I wasn't exactly familiar with the dance. I will say, I didn't practice the choreography for this dance, but I just followed them. The funny part was seeing my dad and my brother laughing while I was trying to attempt doing this dance, with no practice. This was followed by the groom performing a dance for his bride, and then both of them performing a dance together for the guest. The rest of the night was spent eating some great food, and then that concluded the first ceremony. The following night's ceremony was a little bit different than the first. It wasn't mandatory to wear traditional outfits, and you were allowed to wear suits. This felt more like a reception that you would probably be more familiar with here in North America. The hall was huge, and it was really cool to see. Pretty big room. Very nice. At some point, Nabil and his bride arrived, and they walked down to their seats. Honestly, I couldn't be more proud for Nabil and his bride, and the event hall was stunning, and it was just like very well done. At this point, the bride and the groom finally take a moment to sit together, and everybody basically is there to just celebrate them as a couple. At this point, it's customary for the bride and the groom to take their leave, and, you know, it's a very emotional moment for the families. That basically concluded the wedding and concluded the celebrations, and overall, it was just a very interesting thing to witness and be a part of. And I think my brother also really enjoyed seeing this, as this was not something that he was also familiar with. The next day, we decided to get some brunch. We went to a Damascus-themed restaurant. It was a buffet style. Damascus. I wasn't really supposed to film inside the restaurant, so I didn't get a shot of the food, but it was really good. All right, it's the last day in Saudi Arabia over here. This is it. I'm exhausted. It's National Day, so there's a lot of partying and traffic and stuff. They got a holiday. It's like our Canada Day. I'm packed and ready to go. I got everything that I need. It's been a lot of fun past couple of days. I spent my last night climbing on the roof of the hotel and just taking a look at the sunset, as this was, again, one of the most beautiful sunsets that I've ever seen. And it was just icing on the cake. I'm up here on the roof. It's our last night here in Saudi Arabia. Last evening, last sunset. But look at this sunset. Look at the sun. It's so hard to even describe. I think prayers are supposed to start soon. Oh, the prayers are starting. So they come out of the mosque, the speakers, and normally you can hear it all over the city. There's more going on. So that mosque, it has speakers. There's a mosque somewhere down there. I find it's beautiful, personally. I find it stunning, hearing the prayers in the desert. It's really nice. It goes the whole city. Very cool experience. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I had such a great time here. I'll probably come back at some point. In the end, I think my brother and my dad ended up having a great time traveling. We got to experience the culture and see it in a more intimate way. And it also ended up being a great bonding experience for both my brother, my dad, and I. I think my experience seeing the culture from such an intimate perspective was a really good thing. And I hope that more people give Saudi a chance and come and visit one day.